Here we're good. Okay. Okay, we are good to go. Thank you, Katie, Renee, and Paul, our electronic wizards. This may actually work. Let me know if it doesn't. Really?
We actually want to hear you.
That's what you think. Okay, I'm talking pretty loud. Is this good enough? Okay. Okay. Thanks for coming. We seem to have 35 pretty easily. Can we confirm that, Madam Secretary? So we have our quorum, which is our first order of business. Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming on time. Fooled you again. And let's get going. Rabbi, we need Devar.
Shavua Tov. Oh, yes. Okay. Always another benefit of having a short female rabbi before me. At this moment, as we look forward to a complete 50 years at Congregation Beth Torah, we are in the midst of the Omer, a 50-day period of time in which we go about our everyday lives with a little bit more trepidation. As we commemorate that period of anxiety that the Israelites would experience each year as they discovered how much produce would emerge from their harvest season, we take on a few mourning practices like avoiding big celebrations or concerts or haircuts. As we count the days between Exodus from Egypt and the revelation at Mount Sinai, we commemorate the newness of freedom, the excitement and the frustration of our first tastes of communal responsibility. As we approach both the 50-day mark of Shavuot and the 50-year mark at Congregation Beth Torah, we get ready to shed the anxiety of that relative newness. We recognize what worries have held us back in the past: finances, membership numbers, anti-Semitism, and the age-old, where are all of the young people? Although each of these are valid anxieties, we take this turning point to recognize how much more we could accomplish if we could just imagine our ideal Congregation Beth Torah without fears getting in the way. What would our programming and space look like if we shed the refrain, that would never work? What would be different and what would be the same if we got rid of the idea that we'll never raise enough funds, so why bother? Over 50 years, we've built a character of inclusion, participation, and egalitarianism that makes us unique in this Dallas Jewish community. While our character does not make for a huge synagogue or for endless funds, it does make for meaningful relationships, for lasting memories and a passionate connection to God and Judaism. So as we plan for the future, we must go beyond how are we going to survive and turn into what does thriving look like at Congregation Beth Torah, and how are we going to get there? In Pirkei Avot, we learn that 40 years old is the age of wisdom and 50 is the age of counsel. We as a congregation have survived and we have thrived for long enough that we not only have wisdom and experience, but we also have the know-how to apply our challenges and our successes to accomplishing our ideal vision of the next 50 years. We move past the anxiety and into celebration of the past and enthusiasm for the future of Congregation Beth Torah. I'm excited to invite up again Mike to tell us a little bit about our past year and the future. But before we do that,
First this word.
But first, Katie is gonna do something really quick. Hold on.
We good? Okay. In a few minutes from now, assuming you all ignore my pleas to run against me, I will be on board for a third term as your president. Sincerely, I thank you. It's an honor to be part of the long list of people who have done so much for this wonderful congregation for nearly 50 years and who continue to do so much as we embark on our next 50 years. My first year, I thought the biggest challenge facing me was replacing the big ratty couch in the library. Well, we did that thanks to donors who wanted to remain anonymous. But we also scored a hat trick that still amazes me, both a matter of incredibly good luck and a tribute to this community that can attract such wonderful professionals. We found Katie Babin, Brandy Hunter, and Rabbi Rubenstein, assembling a dynamic team to launch a new era of enthusiasm, innovation, and optimism. Our hopes were high when we hired them, but they have far exceeded that, both individually and working as a team. So this year, that team, along with our board and our many volunteers, worked to redeem that good luck and consolidate our gains. Our programming and our engagement with members has stayed strong, from services and holiday celebrations to adult education and Tat Shabbat, from sisterhood to men's club to highlights, from Israeli dancing to knit night to poker. It's getting harder to get events scheduled on our calendar without overlapping, and that's a good thing. But we've also added some new elements to Beth Torah this year. Taken individually, they might not knock your tallis off, but they sure add up. We brought the Learning Center back fully under our roof and our control, and the vibes and excitement under Brandy are basically a revolution. We have streamlined and standardized our communications, updating our logo, bolstering our online presence, and adding the monthly connections and mazel mail to bond us together better. We've updated our Wi-Fi and other technologies and reinforced our security equipment and procedures. We've added a kitchen coordinator, Vanessa Ortega, who along with kitchen manager Kimber Miller make sure the kitchen is run right without overburdening any one person, and we never go hungry. Our main bathrooms in the Oneg room are now a whole lot more presentable. So is our main entrance with new landscaping that gives a much more attractive first impression of our synagogue. The new water fountain in the education wing is just part of a major sprucing up of that area. Our Mishloach Manot program at Purim is back in a big and profitable way. We will have a new and improved sukkah this year, which, among other things, will result in a lot less back strain for the hardy souls who set it up and take it down. And don't forget, we won the kosher chili cook-off. This and more things I'm surely neglecting to mention has made Beth Torah a better, more professional, more inviting place that I hope you're even prouder than before to be part of. But we cannot be complacent. As we prepare to celebrate our 50th anniversary, we face big challenges to ensure that Beth Torah will not just survive, but thrive for at least 50 more years. The first challenge is membership. We're not the biggest or the fanciest synagogue in town, and we don't want to be. But we are an exceptional spiritual community of warm, welcoming, really interesting people of diverse backgrounds and interests, and we have to do a better job of sharing that message. As you'll hear from others today, we are all the membership committee. We all need to show our friends, our colleagues, and everyone in the Jewish community what a special place Beth Torah is and what it can add to their lives. We have a great membership team with a lot of energy and ideas, both to attract new members and engage better with the ones already here, but it starts with each one of us. It's a mitzvah to spread the good gospel of Beth Torah. Please take some pamphlets with you on the way out. But frankly, it's also an economic necessity. We need a larger membership and a stronger financial base to keep and hopefully expand our staff, maintain an aging building, and create an endowment to secure our future. We have a generous congregation and we're grateful. But this year in particular, we'll be asking for even more generosity to invest in our future. For our golden anniversary, we are planning a special century campaign to jumpstart the next 50 years, and a legacy campaign to encourage and recognize people who follow the example of our beloved Ethel Gruen and include Beth Torah in their final bequests. But our anniversary isn't just about money. I'm delighted to announce that we have 3 co-chairs, Rabbi Feivel Rubenstein, Lisa Zacharin, and Ron Jacobs, who will spearhead planning for our anniversary festivities. Stay tuned for details, send us your comments and ideas, and yes, expect an invitation to help out. On behalf of the board, I want to thank everyone for being part of our community and doing so much for it. And I want to especially thank Katie, Brandy, and the rabbi for making us look so smart in hiring them. Here's to a wonderful 50th year, and let's use this great milestone in our history to make Beth Torah even better. Katie, you're up.
So much of what I was planning to say was in your speech. So should I just go sit down? Should I read it again? Read it again? Okay. I think what's really nice about the fact that so much of what was in my speech is also what you said. I think what's nice about that is that it means that you and I have been on the same page, figuratively and literally, all year. And that's been really wonderful as far as working alongside you. And so I just wanted to start off by saying that. So thank you. Also, if you've worked with me over the past year, I hate talking in public. So let's say that. Okay. All right. In the past year, our synagogue has achieved remarkable milestones. As we gather here for this congregational meeting, we come together not only to reflect, but also to celebrate the vibrant spirit of our synagogue. Being a part of a synagogue community like Beth Torah means being able to connect to our Judaism in a number of ways. From hosting engaging educational programs to fostering deeper connections within our community through meaningful events, we've witnessed the fruits of our collective efforts. And whether it's through a weekday cooking class, sitting in the park on a beautiful Sunday morning and doing text study, or helping a young person put on to fill in for the first time in their life, we provide these opportunities here to build community and make people feel part of something bigger than themselves. Our achievements, growth, and new initiatives are a testament to the dedication and commitment of each and every member of our congregation. Some examples I have seen over the past year include the beautiful turnout at our newly combined Get the Scoop and Learning Center open house. It was just tremendous and beautiful. The success of our in-home Shabbats this past January, which were connective and beautiful, and the food was really good. At least at mine, it was really wonderful. And we stayed till like 10 or 10:30. I don't know, it was just great. And people were meeting each other for the first time, and the conversations were just so good. The engagement of over 30 volunteers who delivered Mishlach Manot to the nearly 300 member homes in our CBT community, which was just unbelievable to watch. The incredible turnouts to our twice monthly Tot Shabbats, which have brought in a number of prospective members and people to our community for the first time. And those have just been a joy to run. And Brandy will speak more to our learning center, but I just can't wait to send Yuri, my son, to the new pre-K class next year. Our reinstated safety team has conducted regular safety drills on Saturday mornings to educate our community on various emergencies we may encounter, from tornado drills to, unfortunately, in the case of an active shooter, etc. But these are things that we may encounter, and I appreciate our safety team taking the lead on running these drills. Additionally, we obtained new security devices at no cost, thanks to the Federation, as an added layer of security for our building. And we received training from the Federation as well on these devices. We've also received training on our new Stop the Bleed kits that are now located in our lobby area and by our multi-purpose room. We also participated in the bagel run. We had a team and it was so much fun. And I look forward to having an even bigger team next year at the bagel run on Mother's Day. So I hope all of you in this room are part of our team next year. And like Mike said, we won the vegetarian, first place in the vegetarian category at the Kosher Chili Cook-Off, but it's still first place. Still first place. Okay. I think programmatically and engagement-wise, all of these things are exciting, but I was hired to focus on internally, administratively, those tasks. So I will talk about those, I promise. Okay. So Mike did mention a number of things that did get updated internally. So items like our technology. So our Wi-Fi has been updated, which is wonderful. I hope all of you have seen improvements to the speed of our Wi-Fi if you've had to run programs here. Our projector, this wonderful projector that we are using is brand new. We've had a number of laptops and Learning Center TVs donated over the course of the year, and we've used charter funds to purchase new laptops and TVs as well. Our ONEG bathrooms are currently receiving what I'd like to say a zhuzhing. They're receiving a zhuzhing up, and those will be completed within the next week. Also our landscaping is receiving upgrades. And I'd also like to thank Michael Levy, who is not here today, but Michael Levy has been taking a lot of the ownership and project management of that upgrade. Let's see. Also, administratively, we've been conducting a number of calendar meetings, which have been happening every other week. And these calendar meetings have helped us stay organized internally, helped us with setup, helped us with AV setups. I've been working closely with Paul to do once a month AV calendar meetings to also look ahead to make sure that we have the correct AV setups for the next month for all programs looking ahead. So we are working more in a proactive manner within our calendar to make sure that all of you have what you need. And we actually just completed a FY25 calendar meeting with Sisterhood Men's Club, and then the rabbi, Brandy, and then a few internal staff to just look at the whole calendar in the year ahead. We received calendars from all the auxiliary and affinity groups as well. And Kenyette was able to upload all of those calendars for the next year before she left. And so our calendar is looking good for the next year, and it is all uploaded to the calendar. And so I think we're really set up for success as far as programs and engagement are looking on our calendar. So I'm really excited about that. Looking ahead, now back to my speech. Okay. Looking ahead, I am filled with hope and excitement for the future of our synagogue. As our community turns 50 years old, together we must reflect on where we started, where we have been, and now where we want to go. If we have a vision of growth as a community, stronger connections, and a deep love for Judaism. I look forward to working closely with Elisa Wolf, membership vice president, who, if all things go according to plan, will be voted in the next hour, and Donna Levow over the next year as we seek to create a meaningful membership experience and strengthen our pathways to belonging with new members. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have volunteered their time, shared their talents, and supported our endeavors, and especially to those who have answered my many questions over the past year. Today, I invite each of you to join us in shaping the future of our synagogue, whether through volunteering your time, sharing your ideas, or simply being present and engaged in our community. Your contributions matter. As we move forward, let us embrace this vision with open hearts and minds. Let us continue to nurture a welcoming and inclusive environment where we all feel valued and supported. And let us remain steadfast in our commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of those around us here at Beth Torah and in the larger Dallas Jewish community.
Thank you. That brings us to the budget presentation. It's not quite in order, but Mark needs to leave a little early, so we're gonna put him in the front of the line. Come on up. They're gonna load your slides here.
West sides.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, one back. Okay, so in putting together the budget for this year, we established some sort of guiding principles, if you will, and these are them. The first one you can see is to increase the membership, and the second is talking about creating a sustainable financial model. And the reason that's important is that we have to include in our budget for future years the cost of the chief administrator and the cost of kitchen help, because right now those costs are being taken care of by revenue that's essentially off budget. So we have to find a way to fund those positions in a sustainable way moving forward. And we want to do that while maintaining our position as a shul that is accessible, inclusive, and affordable. Affordable is a polite way of saying we want to be remain very competitive in our membership dues for the future. And in terms of a financial goal, we want to finish this fiscal year with a surplus of roughly $50,000, and we want to repeat that goal for next year, so that in a couple of years' time we will be able to incorporate in our income statement and the cost of the two positions that I just mentioned. We could have, of course, tried to increase our surplus to $100,000 in 1 year, but we thought that was a little bit of a stretch. And so we're basically taking kind of a two-year approach to achieving that $100,000 surplus we need to fund those positions. Okay, so in terms of some of the assumptions that we made to put our budget together, you see them here. And here I'll take a moment here to talk about the process that we used. All of the VPs were involved in putting the budget together, and we used a process that's very similar to what we used last year and the year before. And I'd like to actually give a thank you to Lisa Miller. Where's Lisa? There she is, right there. She helped Katie and I understand the process and the spreadsheets that were used to put the budget together. So basically, the VPs received an Excel file that had a forecast of what they would be spending this year, and that forecast included 9 months of actual and 3 months of budget. So the VPs basically were given a baseline of what they would be what was expected to be spent this year, and from that they they created the budget for this coming year. And the budget that was created included all of these assumptions. Some of the, you can see growing the paid membership to 290 units. That's going to be a stretch because our current paid membership is about 275. So we're looking to have a net increase of 15 units, membership units for this coming year. And that I think is a stretch goal. We are going to be increasing membership dues by 3%. And you'll see the next slide will give you a little more detail about what that means. Because our building, as Mike mentioned, is aging, we need to increase our maintenance fee by $25. The Learning Center has already increased their tuition. That was part of the, if any of you did the Learning Center registration, you were, this was part of that registration process, is to be notified of the increase in Learning Center tuition. And then there's some other things here. About middle of the page, you can see apply investment income to operations. We, up till now, we have been recording our investment income as restricted, meaning it doesn't flow through our income statement. We're making a change this year. In fact, it's already been made, that income is going to be coming into the income statement, so we'll be able to use it for operations. And the other thing that we told the VPs is to not forget the chartered funds. We have about $140,000 in chartered funds. It covers all kinds of things, ritual and Learning Center and adult ed and so forth. And we're encouraging them that where appropriate to target expenses and small projects that would otherwise be paid from operations, that those things could be funded through the chartered funds. And we've done a little bit of that this year, but we could probably do more. And so that's one thing we're wanting the VPs to take a look at. Oh, the other thing, the project expenses, Katie mentioned, the bathrooms and the landscaping and the technology and the kitchen help for this year. All of that is money and expenses that do not flow through the income statement of the shul, and that's going to continue. So to the extent that we have special projects that are funded off budget, if you will, those things are not included in the budget. Okay, so all right, then here's the proposal for the dues increase. It's roughly 3% up and down. You can see the whole. This is every single membership category, and at the bottom you've got the maintenance fee increase of $25. The one thing that's not changing is kind of the bump that we're charging for the high. So you see that you see the family 35%, no change. There you go. So it's going to be this. It's basically the same. Okay, so there you have the proposed dues, and what I want to show you on the next slide is some history. We don't take increasing dues lightly, so I wanted to give you a little bit of background. And the very top row is what we're proposing for. Yeah, the very top row is what we're proposing for this year. So, and I took as an example the family dues amount. So you can see there for the July, the top line, the total is $29.05. $29.05 is the total that families will pay this year. That's the sum of the dues and the maintenance fee. And if we had been diligently increasing our dues by the rise in inflation over the last several years, what that number would have been this year would be those last two columns. So if we used as our base July 2015 and had increased our dues by inflation from that point, 2015 to today, our dues would have ended up at around $3,400. And decided to look at it in a different way. If we had used as our base July of 2018, which is the last column, and increased our dues by inflation from that point to today, our dues would have been $34.42. So basically, we're making a feeble attempt this year at catching up with inflation, but we can't. You know, it would have been unreasonable to increase dues by 10 or 15 or 20%. So we're just making a small step in that direction. So there you have it. That's the history. And then here's the punchline. This is the budget. You might have to get out your binoculars to see those numbers, but all that detail is important, and maybe we can make this budget available on the website, the members only section of the website. The key points are over on the right hand side of the chart there. You see what are the big items. So we're hoping to increase revenue by having the dues increase and a member increase. So that's about 30,000. And then I mentioned before the investment income, that's going to be around 26,000. The gala that Mike mentioned, we're just putting in a placeholder of 30,000, and we don't exactly know how we're going to come up with the 30. That's going to be the committee that you've chartered, the three-person. What's that?
This is a faith-based institution.
That's right. And so we have a lot of faith in that three-person team. And that could be, it could be an event, it could be a fundraising drive, it could be a combination of the two. So we don't really know exactly what that is, but we put a placeholder of 30,000. Learning Center, as I mentioned, has a tuition increase, and that's going to generate about 4,000. The total of the big items, the big changes, is 90,000. And then on the expense side, we have about $40,000 more in staff costs, because we're going to have to fund the chief administrator position from about the middle of April to the end of the fiscal year, and then also included in that is the kitchen help. So you see the net of the two. You have $90,000 of revenue coming in, $40,000 of expense. The net is about 50,000. So that's where we get that $50,000 number from the very first slide. But what we actually hope to do is at the bottom of that chart, you see net revenue highlighted in yellow, roughly $79,000. So that's what we're planning on. And if everything goes well and we increase our membership and people pay their increased tuition and we achieve the gala, and there's also embedded in this, there's other changes, like we're budgeting for a small increase in revenue from the Shield of David. We're thinking we're going to get $20,000 from the 100X program. This year we got, I think, 17 or 18,000. So we've got some other things embedded in here. The bottom line, literally, is hoping to have a surplus end this year with $79,000. And a lot of things have to go right for that to happen. And that's why I think what will probably happen is we'll end up with a surplus of probably less than that 79,000, maybe 60,000 or 55,000, something like that. So anyway, there you have it. You can put your binoculars away and take any, if there's any questions, we have time for questions. Mike,
Yeah, please.
if there are any questions, comments?
Explain the difference between a charter fund and an operation fund. Therefore, which would you? Can you explain the difference between a chartered fund and an operations fund? Which would you prefer people give to?
Well, the chartered funds they were all established for a particular purpose, and many of them were established by current and or former congregants. So there's, Learning Center Fund, Ritual Fund, Adult Education Fund, and so forth. What that means is that anybody who makes a donation to one of the chartered funds, that money can only be used for the purpose that fund was created for. Whereas if you make a donation to just general shul operations, like the Shield of David goes towards general shul operations. So that money can be used any way the executive committee decides it can be used. So generally speaking, we like unrestricted funds coming in, because then we can do with those funds what's the most appropriate thing at that time and fund things that need to be funded. But I don't want to discourage people from making donations to the chartered fund, because those funds mean a lot to certain people, and so here's my mantra: we always take the money. That's the number one rule of finance in a nonprofit organization, and the number two rule is we always take the money. So.
What you said today was that the money going to chartered funds will now be able to be used for general operations?
No, I didn't mean to say, if that's what you got from my presentation, no, I did not mean to suggest that. I'm saying, what I was saying in that one bullet point is that if there are expenses and or small projects that are consistent with the purpose of that chartered fund, then we're encouraging the VPs to use that approach to fund that expense or that project, especially if that expense or small project would otherwise have been paid through operations.
Yeah.
But the important point here is it has to be consistent with the purpose of the chartered fund.
Wait, don't talk yet. Hold on.
I think the confusion might be regarding the changes you made on investment income, because that comes from the chartered fund.
No, the investment income is not coming from the chartered fund. So we have generated quite a bit of excess cash over the last 2 or 3 years. For example, the COVID loans that were forgiven, and I think that's around like 150,000 or 200,000, something like that. What's the number? 140,000. So what we have been doing, we have been investing all those excess funds in either FDIC CDs at insured institutions or government securities, T-bills and T-notes, 3 and 6 months. And up till now, just because it was just an accounting thing, really. We have those investments at Charles Schwab, and Charles Schwab also is the custodian for all those chartered funds that I mentioned. So we have about 10 accounts at Schwab, one of which we use for our investments, but it used to be a chartered fund, and which we no longer have. And so our accountant, Dawn, assumed that any income from that Charles Schwab account would be restricted. And that doesn't need to be the case, because it's just that we're using the Charles Schwab account as the custodian for those investments, and there's no reason why that investment income can't flow into our income statement.
You mentioned about wanting to increase the number of families. Will you be giving us some concrete suggestions on how we can personally do that?
I'll leave that to the membership, VP.
Somebody.
Yes,
That's not your department.
that's, yeah. So as I think someone mentioned, we're all really part of the membership committee, and I know Katie has been working with
Elisa
Elisa
and Donna.
and Donna, right, on sprucing up our outreach and our website. And basically, all of you, tell your friends and your family and your coworkers about us, and get them in the door. What I've been saying at our executive committee meetings and our board meetings this last several months is we do a great job of closing. We just need to get the folks in the door. We need to get folks in the door. And Donna will appreciate this. We always need to be closing. ABC, always be closing, right? Okay.
Yeah, Mike will tell you about a parting gift he's going to give all of you on the way out, right?
Sorry?
The parting gift, the thing that you're going to, yeah. He has a little gift for all of you on the way out.
So I wanted to go back to the investment income for 1 second because I was lucky enough to help put that in place. I think what's really important for everyone to understand is we're taking this excess money and putting it in 100% secured investments.
Yes, that is
We are
correct.
not putting any principal at risk at all. It's just basically when the Treasury notes bonds went to 5%, it made it worth it to move the money over.
That's
We
right.
move it very temporarily. We look at Mark looks at he looks at the operating needs, cash needs, and does not move more than that. So there's always cash in the bank to pay bills, pay salaries. And then just what's excess goes in for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days at the most.
Yeah.
Then it comes back to available and it's never at risk. So I think that's really important
Yes.
to know that, it's just an investment strategy and it's been really adding up the interest and dividends.
And let me add to that. We also, the board made a decision last December to purchase $100,000 of Israel bonds. So that's part of our investment income, and that roughly we're going to generate about 5% on that 100,000. So that $5,000 that will be paid this December is flowing into the income statement, along with the interest from the CDs and the interest from the T-bills and T-bonds.
Oh, yeah. Here.
Where is the income from the rent that the preschool they pay?
You see, it's that.
We need to talk into the mic so Zoom can hear.
Oh, yeah.
Facility rental.
Facility rental. It's that, it's $102,000.
Yes. Yes.
But it's,
Yeah.
98% the,
That's a good question. Yeah.
More questions, comments?
Any other questions? I need the steps.
First of all, I want to
Yeah,
say,
Reve. Yeah, so actually kind of going off of the facility rental comment, that's another thing that we'd love to increase over the next year. And okay, so the question was, does this facility rental line include, is that inclusive of the rental income from the preschool that rents our space and other facility rental? So, when Hadassah rented our space, when Texas Jewish Historical Society rented our space, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things that we would love to see over the next year is see additional rental income from other outside organizations and businesses. So if you see somebody in the community, know organizations in the community that are looking for meeting spaces, that are looking for a place to host their event, think of Beth Torah and say, I know a space. I know a great space. And I know a very well-priced space, and put them in touch with me. Please think of Beth Torah. Think of Beth Torah in all of these things, because this is not only a great way to get our name out there, but it's just another great source of income for us. Vanessa, Juan, don't say anything until I bring the mic over to you, okay? Thanks. We need to think of Zoom, guys. We need to think of Zoom. But we need to think of Zoom.
The rental facility also includes catering, right?
It does include catering. Oh my gosh.
Sure.
And it's kosher. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild. It's amazing.
Okay.
Back there.
Okay, 1 second. Hold on.
How much money does the synagogue make on catering?
I think this year it was budgeted at about 500 a month, or maybe not much.
Yeah, it's
Why not more?
because we're basing it on historical data.
Haven't had that many
No, we're not.
events.
I mean, we don't have a,
It's definitely a revenue opportunity for
Yeah.
us to rent out our space.
it's a work in progress. Yeah.
Have more events.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes.
sure. So the question was, is there a space that's not being used by bilingual preschool that we're trying to get income from? Yeah, I mean, the ONEG room, when it's not being used by our auxiliary and affinity groups.
Individual events more than a permanent.
Yeah, it's more individual events. When our classrooms are not being used during the summer by our learning center, we could host summer camps. We can use some of those classrooms in the evenings during the week when the learning center is not in session for organizations to host their meetings. You know, there are different opportunities available for different organizations to use our spaces. I'm coming over to you. 1 second. I want the steps.
So to answer Helene's question about why we don't make more on catering, I think the answer to that question is we used to have a much younger volunteer base in the congregation and more active volunteer base in the congregation, and particularly in the sisterhood, who volunteered to do the cooking and preparation and everything for catered events that the congregation charged for. We don't have that anymore. We need to rebuild that. And that's why I don't think that we're making as much on catering as we could potentially do. But as the congregation grows, as we meet our membership numbers, and particularly younger new members, I think we'll have the opportunity to make more money on catering.
You're hired. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As a liberal arts major, I'm totally out of my depth here. And I'm really grateful to Mark and to Lisa and to Katie for making this all work. And great job and thank you. And as Mark said, we do not take raising dues lightly. Nobody likes that. It has been at least 6 years since our dues went up. So I hope nobody is too horrified by this. I guess now, can we get a motion to accept our 24-25 budget? I see Dr. Koenigsberg. Doctor's orders. Second, Nancy Siegel. Okay, I guess if you're on Zoom, do we do hands? How do we get the votes on Zoom? Actually, are there? Okay, all in favor of adopting our new budget, please raise your hand. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Mark, thanks for all your time, and now you can go. Where'd he go? He's already gone. He's already gone, okay. So Thank you. Next up, let me officially pull out the rabbi's step stool. And you're up again.
As should be the case with a synagogue, a whole lot has happened in the realm of prayer, ritual, Torah learning, and life cycle events at Congregation Beth Torah this past year. I started out my time partially with updates to the kashrut policy and mashgiach training. Hopefully there will be more mashgiach training to come for those who are interested. There's been a lot going on with tefillah behind the scenes. We've had a lot of people learning service leading and reviewing service leading. We have some new default service leader guidelines and recordings, focusing on balancing familiar tunes with new tunes or those that aren't as familiar to Congregation Beth Torah. So if you're interested in learning a service or even in learning a prayer or two to lead during your favorite service, please let me know. We can organize a class or we can just learn one-on-one. We've had a lot of life cycle rituals across the spectrum. So starting out with birth, we've had birth rituals both on the Bima here at CBT and in homes. So if you have children or grandchildren if you have grandchildren who are expecting, please reach out. Some people love these public ceremonies, but some people just enjoy having these ceremonies at home too, no matter how old the kids are. Even if they haven't had a naming ritual yet, it's a great opportunity to bring the family together or to bring the community together. We have had 4 B'nai Mitzvah in the past year. We've got 7 scheduled for the year to come. And that's a minimum. So we might even have a couple more. We have updated the B'nai Mitzvah policy thanks to Eileen Kessner and all of the wonderful work she does. And also thanks to the rest of the B'nai Mitzvah team. That's Brandy, Joni, Linda, and am I forgetting someone else? And me, I guess. And we've had a couple of conversions, but we have a lot of guidance for those getting ready for the conversion process. And both of those groups, both people who have converted recently and people who are in the conversion process, are some of our most active community members. I believe next weekend we are going to be celebrating one of those families. More on that to come in the e-news. Another behind the scenes conversion update that's been happening is that the conservative rabbis in the Dallas area have gotten together to organize batei din and mikvahs for new adopted babies. So in Israel, gay couples are not able to adopt babies as a couple. And so many of them come to the United States to adopt their children. And they want their children to be halachically Jewish when they move back to Israel. And so the conservative movement here has been taking in these couples with their adopted babies from all over Texas. So we just had a couple last week come from having adopted their baby in Austin. So we, as this group of rabbis, are organizing these batei din and these mikvahs, and usually these batei din, these beit dins, involve a community member, not just rabbis. And so I know that Mike has been part of this. Elizabeth Elias. I was trying to remember last name. Elizabeth Elias, not that Elizabeth, was a part of one too. If you're interested in being on that to call list, please let me know. Would love to have you involved too. We've also had quieter life cycle moments and rituals, and it's been an honor to be a part of that, whether that's involved visiting homes or having people come to the office and saying some prayers, or visiting hospital rooms as well. Those are an honor to be a part of those moments. And of course, at the end of life, there have been a number of funerals and Shiva Minyanim throughout the CBT community. And one of the things that has impressed me the most about this community is how we show up for one another at these events. I've said this before from the BIMA, but a reminder that we're all already very good at is, even if you don't know the person, if there's an announcement that goes out about a Shiva Minyan or a funeral coming up, it is a comfort to that family for you to show up and for you to be there in support. We do that really well already, but just so you know, even if you didn't know that person, you're welcome to come and support. It's been an honor for me to learn from these people's lives in preparing these life cycle rituals. We've also been able to celebrate lots of these moments from the BIMA. So from the BIMA, we've said blessings for retirements, for moves, birthdays, anniversaries, and much more. Sponsored some kiddish lunches to celebrate these moments too. And so I'm excited to see which of these moments are going to come up in the following year or in the coming year as well. While holiday events, social events, and Torah study are all really significant, these life cycle events are truly our most vital moments that we have as an organized Jewish community. In every stage and every moment that shows up in our roller coaster lives, CBT exists to make sure that we have a community to cheerlead for us, to comfort us. And we exist to make sure that we have that spiritual support to conceptualize these most awesome moments in the grand scheme of God's creation. Moving on to holidays. Our holiday prep is led by our team of hyper organizers, the Ritual Committee. We're always welcoming more hyper organizers and more who kind of are on my space and not as hyper organized. You're welcome to come too. The High Holidays, he's not here, but everything High Holidays is mainly organized by Cliff Friedman, who is incredible behind the scenes and in front of the scenes sometimes too, but he's an incredible behind the scenes organizers. For these High Holidays these past year, we heard service leaders we've heard for decades and newer service leaders. All of them practiced tirelessly to ensure that we were moved to tshuva and moved to praise of God. We were fortunate enough to have a couple of our holidays span Saturday night and Sunday morning, which lent to an opportunity to have adults programming on Saturday night, kids programming on Sunday morning. So 2 examples of this were Simchat Torah, where we had some games and dancing that were organized by Chuck Smith and Haley Barrett. And then in the morning, we had our Learning Center kids invited to our morning celebration as well. Purim was the big example of this, and Purim was a lot this year, but hopefully it was enjoyed as much as the people who organized it enjoyed it too. We had a spiel Saturday night, thanks to Larry Guzik, Jeremy Duchin, and Joshua Schussler. And we had a huge carnival Sunday morning, and I hope we have the chance to do that again. I've heard that it's been a while since we did that as a congregation. I know that the kids had a lot of fun. I hope the adults had a lot of fun too. And part of that too, of course, was the amazing spiel that was organized by our Learning Center students. They were incredible. And of course, our Megillah readers, who read both evening and morning this year. And for some of them, it was their first time ever reading from the actual Megillah scroll. Pesach, of course, was also another one of those holidays that required an incredible amount of prep, both before, during, after Pesach. I want to thank Jeff Markowitz. He did a whole lot of that. And even though his name wasn't publicly on anything, just want to know that he was really behind this Passover working. There was also a lot of behind the scenes koshering and prep from Mark and Neil. I think Mark left, but Mark and Neil did a whole lot of behind the scenes for Pesach as well. As part of Pesach, we had our Seder, which I think at least the kids had a whole lot of fun. I hope that you did too. Still looking for input from that. I know we need more prizes next year. Thanks to the delicious catering from Stacy. It was a wonderful evening. And I counted, and we had 6 other services during those 8 days. actually 7 if we count Sunday morning minyan. So we had 7 services, and we had minyanim for all of those services. So yasher koach to all of you for making that work. And I also want to say another thank you for Hanukkah, for the Hanukkah party, and beyond to Vanessa and Jacob, who also did a whole lot of the food prep and just organizing in general for all of these holidays. We also at CBT did a whole lot of participation in the interfaith world in our larger community. We were active partners in the Richardson Interfaith Alliance. We had a lot of groups who toured CBT and who visited our services. We got input that in the future, we'd love to learn more about these groups who are visiting our services. And so in the future, what we'd love to do is ask the leader of whatever groups are visiting to come up and to say a few words about who they are and what brings them to Congregation Beth Torah. We also were involved in conversations with the faith leadership of Plano and Richardson ISD, especially regarding the aftermath of October 7th, but also more generally, there are a lot of changes coming to our local school districts, and they want to make sure that they have faith partners to support their families in those changes. We hosted an iftar dinner for the Dialogue Institute, a local Turkish Muslim organization. I've personally been involved with the Multicultural Center of Fort Worth, and I'm looking forward to going to their clergy retreat and being a scholar in residence there again next year, as I did this year. And beyond what I do, our congregation in general has a lot of you who are involved in these local interfaith organizations. So we have a Jewish Christian study that goes on Mondays that's organized by Earl Bills. I know that some of you are members of the Daughters of Abraham. I know that some of you helped to organize the Interfaith Seder, and there's a whole lot more I would imagine goes on in our interfaith community and in our local Jewish communities on a wider level within this room. I'd love to learn more about what are the organizations that you support. In the aftermath of October 7th, our community really came together in learning from each other and in supporting Israel and in our larger Jewish community. I know that Mike's updates on before the prayer for the state of Israel have been more important than ever. We've added during services a prayer for our hostages led by Gary. And recently, one of our members, Dina, read a lovely poem during that space where we acknowledge the conflict that's going on between Israel and Gaza. If you have a reading, a poem, a prayer that you'd like to share during services to acknowledge how you're feeling, what you think needs to be said, please let me know. And I always read what people suggest to say on the Bima first. So if you have thoughts that you'd like to share during that space during services, that space is still welcome for you. And there's also been other programming on anti-Semitism in Israel through the Mark Spiegel Speaker Series, through our own Leah White speaking for ADL, through education for teens, Nasha knowledge topics, and beyond. Some other miscellaneous items. We've started conversations about about modesty on the Bima during Shabbat services. And I hope that we've done so in a way that has been mindful. We're trying to balance the importance of modest dress with our primary Congregation Beth Torah values of welcoming and inclusion. So we began this conversation with our B'nai Mitzvah policy, then a Devar Torah on the Bima, and then several conversations with text studies. So Nasha knowledge was one of those. We developed the following statement, and the plan is to teach about this in our Learning Center curriculum next year, to put this in a space in our weekly bulletin, and then to put this statement or a statement like this on visible signage in our lobby. We were donated some beautiful decorative scarves. And so the goal about these is not to hand scarves to anybody or to tell anybody that they need to cover up. That's really, really important, but to have them available if people feel like they need to use them. So here's the statement that has been developed. It hasn't been put on anything yet, so feedback is of course welcome, but here it is. It is our custom at Congregation Beth Torah to practice modest dress. Modest dress at CBT means wearing dresses, skirts, and pants at knee length or longer, and practicing discretion when wearing clothing with words or images. On any day when you would like more coverage or are just feeling chilly, you are welcome to borrow one of our decorative scarves hanging on our coat rack. When you invite guests to CBT, whether for a regular Shabbat or a special event, please remind them beforehand of our customs regarding modesty. Please remind them too of our custom of refraining from using cell phones and other electronic devices on Shabbat. So again, still welcoming input, as this hasn't been put on anything yet, but the reason why we're doing this is a balance between making sure that that no one is made to feel embarrassed by someone commenting to them, and also respecting those who want to be able to focus more intently on their prayer and on the service at hand. More things coming up in the coming months. We have our Shavuot Tourathon. We are the hosts for Tisha B'Av, Slichot, and Worldwide Wrap for this coming year. It's our turn in the conservative Jewish community. And we have the class coming up, Hebrew 102, Ashrei Isn't Scary. The sign up is still happening. This is a class for those of you who know your Aleph Bet, who know how to read Hebrew, but it might take you a while to get through to sound everything up or to sound everything out. So if you'd like to work on quickening the pace a little bit or just feeling more comfortable with that Hebrew reading, yes, Ashrei is a part of that, but it's not the only thing we're going to be learning. So I brought my laptop today. If you would like to sign up for a spot in our Shavuot Tourathon, so picking your favorite Torah portion to teach about for 2 to 3 minutes, or if you'd like to sign up for Ashrei Isn't Scary, I'll have my laptop after this, and I'm happy to help you sign up. Finally, I want to say some thank yous to people I haven't mentioned yet for this first year here. First, I want to say thank you to Kenyette. She truly cares about this place. She truly cared about the job that she did here. I'm going to miss her daily check-ins, our daily check-ins, and her reminders to me about boundaries in time. Please exercise some patience with us as we go through this administrative transition. It'll probably take us a few weeks to get back on our feet. There's a whole lot that Kenyette has done in the background for the past 7 years, and we might otherwise take that for granted. So please give us a little bit of extra time and breathing room as we proceed. I want to say thank you to my dream team, to Katie and Brandy and me. As Mike said, it's been just a gift to work with the two of you. You have taught me a whole lot about what it means to be a working mom and to be completely devoted to both this space and to our kids. You have been wonderful friends who check in good times and in not so good times, and you're just a lot of fun to spend time with. I hope more people in this community get to experience that too. I love our different but complementary working styles, and I love both of your passion for Judaism, for the ideals of Congregation Beth Torah, and for your specific roles. It's really been a gift. It's been a blessing to work with you, and I'm really looking forward to the future as well. It's been a gift to work with Mike. You are level-headed when it comes to interpersonal relationships. You do a lot of behind the scenes that I don't know if everybody knows about, but you do a lot of behind the scenes conversations to make sure that everything works out in this congregation. And you are a wonderful go-to for local and national and Israeli news and policies. And also I want to say thank you to everybody here. From the minute that Linda Markowitz brought Rabbi Feivel mashed bananas and avocados during my interview to feed my child, from that moment to yesterday when multiple people came up and commented on their joy at toddler noises During services, you have truly built a second home for our family, and I can't wait to help maintain and grow our home with you. Any questions about all of this ritual and life cycle that's gone on over the past year? How do you do it? That's a longer answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. If there was ever a Rabbi Rookie of the Year award, this would be a shoo-in, but hope there will be. So it's time to introduce Randy Hunter, who is also our Rookie of the Year in the Learning Center. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. All right. I know most of you, but if we haven't met this year for some unknown reason, I'm Brandy Hunter, and I've had the absolute honor and privilege of being the Learning Center principal and engagement of youth for this year. And really, it's been an amazing journey. All right, so here's where I want to start. The teacher in me says that for my visual learners in the audience, you need something to look at. So the first slide that I have today is about our year of Kahila, our community. And that was our focus starting last June. And you'll see that we started off with community and we ended with community. So it is with great pleasure and a deep sense of gratitude that I stand before you today at our annual meeting. As we gather here, we come together not just as individuals, but as a collective force, united by our shared values, traditions, and commitment to the education and nurturing of our children in the rich tapestry of Jewish heritage. Our word for this year was Kahila, or community, and upon reflecting on the year, our Learning Center community did not only just come together, but we came together in numerous and meaningful ways. The past year has definitely been a journey filled with both growth, discovery, and meaningful connections. We've witnessed our students gather together for tefillah and for family Shabbats. We've seen them dance with Abby Mindel for Israeli dancing. We've seen them cook, thanks to Carly Ross for leading us in that. We've seen them create amazing art projects. Thank you to Joy and to Rivka. We've also seen them be able to engage with each other in spirited discussions, and their minds have expanded and their hearts have grown to the beauty and the complexity of our tradition. Beyond the classroom walls, our Sunday school is a place where friendships blossom, where bonds are forged, and where memories have been made. It's a place where each child is not just a student, but a cherished member of an extended family. Together, we have celebrated milestones, we've shared each other's joys, we've made memories on campouts, Sukkot sleepovers, youth lounge hangouts, swimming, and so much more. As we reflect upon the achievements of this past year, let us look to the future with hope and determination. Let us renew our commitment to providing a nurturing environment where every child feels seen, heard, and valued. Let us continue to foster a steadfast love for learning that transcends the boundaries of all of our classroom walls. I will be remiss if I don't take a moment to express my gratitude to our dedicated teachers, staff, volunteers, where their passion and dedication breathe life into our Sunday school and to our Wednesday program. Your tireless efforts do not go unnoticed, and we are deeply grateful for all that you do. Specifically, I'd like to thank Joni Block for being my everyday force that is with me on all things and is always giving me some kind of knowledge or feedback and some brilliant ideas. So thank you, Joni. I'd also like to thank Linda Markovitz, who has been just my pillar of strength this year and guiding me and helping me with all the things that I didn't know how to do or even couldn't do. So this year would not have been as well had it not been for you. So thank you, Linda. To the parents that have entrusted us with the privilege of shaping your children's minds and souls, I'd like to thank you for your unwavering support and your partnership. Your involvement is integral to the success of our community, and we are honored to walk this journey alongside you. Now, if the slides are working, it would be my privilege to share some of our highlights from the year. So in August, we started with an enrollment of about 29. And when we started in June last year, I must also add, we didn't have any students enrolled, right? This was the time last year when I was up here speaking to all the parents and you're asking me about curriculum and what the year was going to look like and if I had a calendar available yet, of which we had very little, if I'm being honest. So I must say that I was very happy when we started August with 29 students. We ended this May with 34 students.
Next year's projection, I know that the previous slide said 42. I'm thinking somewhere between 37 and 42. Of course, I'm leaving some room there for growth. But overall, yes, we have room to build and we have room to grow. But what I'm most proud of from this year is the fact that our kids came together and they built these relationships. And at our last Learning Center Shabbat, you could actually see the little friendships that had emerged in our community. And that was very special. We also were able to get our teens together again this year, which I'm very proud of. So we ended up with 7 Madrahim working on Sundays and Wednesdays in classrooms, helping other children and developing their leadership experience. It was really fantastic to watch them become a part of our community. Our pre-K program started in January with Nancy Lookover, and she started with 4 children, and it went exceptionally well. I must thank Nancy for, for all of her guidance and for her vision, and for the award that I gave her at the end of the year that called her the legend, because she truly is. We also have had 8 incredible teachers this year who brought just so much love and passion to what they did in our classrooms. And I'm very happy to say that 7 of which will be returning next year. So I feel like for Learning Center, we have a really, really solid team that is really committed to our children. Cultural connections. On Sundays, we started doing something where we were able to connect children not only just to tefillah and to learning in the classroom, but also connecting them to Israeli dancing and art and cooking and other things that are very much a part of our Jewish traditions. And of course, we also had weekly tefillah with Rabbi Sidney, who did an amazing job of connecting our children each Sunday morning. Next slide. All right, the other thing, monthly grade level Shabbats. So every month, each grade level had a chance to get together and have dinner with their family and their friends, and then to lead us on the bima in some sort of skit or song or prayer. It was just a way for them to get comfortable on the bima and really feel like they were a bigger part of our community. We also have opened up our doors again to inviting parents in and coming into the youth lounge and having a bagel, getting some coffee, noshing, chatting. That space is always available every Sunday. So, it's just been a really nice way to, if parents want to stay and they want to work on their laptops, they can. If they want to come in and chat with one another, that space is available. We've also made sure that families are invited, families and whether that's parents, grandparents, that they have been invited in once a month, or it's a month a year, where they can engage with our classroom teachers and see what's really going on in our classrooms. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to my Wednesday evening Hebrew mentors who sit down one-on-one with our children and form these amazing connections with each student. And whether it's a little bit of life coaching or if it's really building their Hebrew fluency, they're there to support our children. And I think that makes us incredibly special. You don't see that everywhere. Monthly youth engagement events. We have had something every single month, sometimes twice a month. It includes things like Lego builds, movies, the sleepover in the sukkah, an amazing Israeli glow stick party that we had. Even right now, while we're sitting here, we have students in the youth lounge that are connecting and engaging with one another. And of course, we have also been able to once a month have an amazing team program with engaging activities, amazing speakers, and just a space for our teens to come together and connect once again. All right, so I know you've heard me speak a lot, but I just wanted to go through and show you some of the moments that we've shared. So here's some holiday moments from throughout the year. And our youth and teen programming, as I discussed. So from Madrahim to having monthly youth events and our teen program, that has really become something that's been very enjoyable and very valued this year. Every month we have definitely had, an opportunity for families and for children to come together and to connect. We had a challah bake in support of Israel this year. We also, of course, had our amazing Purim spiel. On Sundays, like I had mentioned, there's always going to be an opportunity for parents to come in and to engage in the classroom. And of course, we had our sukkah decorating and dinner. And then that following weekend, we had the sleepover in the sukkah, to be continued this year. Cultural connection. This is some of us doing some cooking and some art. Israeli dancing, of course, and tefillah. Laner Family Mitzvah Day and our chocolate Seder. Teen program, our helpers. I'm so proud of these teens and them showing up and being a part of our community. Incredible mentors and volunteers. An amazing team of teachers. I had to include this quote that in August, your roster is a list of names, and in May, it's a list of lives, and you've had influence on them all.
again, another huge shout out to our teachers because they made an incredible impact this year. Community. As I said at the beginning, it all starts and ends with community. And I must say that it has been such an honor and such a privilege to do what I do. I don't know how I got so lucky. And I'm just so happy to be at Congregation Beth Torah with Rabbi Sidney, with Katie Bobbin, who really are the dream team. And I'm really looking forward to see what we have in the years to come. So I thank you for all your support. Just one last thing before I step away from the bima. We do have a swim party coming up on Sunday, June 2nd from 12:30 to 2:30. So again, there are more opportunities to connect with our kids over the summer. I'm also going to have some service learning hours open and youth hangout events that are coming. So if you're interested in those things, please make sure that you are reading our weekly e-news. It goes out on a Friday, and that will keep you posted with upcoming opportunities over the course of the summer. And I look forward to another amazing year with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandy. I want to invite up Lisa Miller, who did an outstanding job as our Leadership Development Committee Chair, to present the slate for next year.
Is that better? I feel so tall. So, hi everyone. I'm Lisa Miller, if I don't know you. This is my first time being part of the Leadership Development Committee. It's always fun when it's your first time and you're actually leading it. Just a little secret, Mike talked me into this. And his selling point was that if you lead, you should know this, if you lead the Leadership Development Committee, you can't be on the board or exec. And I was like, okay. So anyway, just a little secret for the future. So this is another one of those roles that is very much behind the scenes and is so critical for our growth and development as a community. So my very first thing I want to do is to thank the committee. We had, I don't know, not everybody's here, but Aaron Block, Fern Gerstein, Paul Dack, Alan Hoffman, Marilyn Guzik, Vicki Silvas, and then Mike participated as a non-voting member. What a fantastic committee. I mean, they just made what I was doing so easy. Lots of others gave valuable input, but this is the group that met really every other week. And we had very thoughtful, very productive, very respectful conversations. And that's really the most important thing about doing leadership development. The other important thing is that we had evening meetings that ended at 9. And I told everybody at 9 o'clock, it was PJs and ice cream time. And we were ending on time. And so that's the other sign of a fantastic committee, is that you can end on time and go have PJs and ice cream. So thank you to everyone that is here, that is not here, maybe on Zoom. I really do appreciate it. It was not a painful process, I would say. So first thing I want to do is, I'm trying to move the slide. You have to move the slide. Is to thank our outgoing board members. It's a lot of work to be on exec and on the board. I know many of you have done that. So we would be remiss if we didn't take a minute to say thank you. We do have a couple of folks on this list who are leaving, but you'll see them on the incoming list. That we love to do that too, by the way. One of the things I want to mention, you'll see 5 names on the at-large. And for those of you that aren't familiar with our structure, we have 10 members that are at large every year, and we alternate years. So 5 come in, the people that have done their 2 years go out, and that way we have consistency as well as new faces that come in. So that's why we have our 5 outgoing at-large members. As you know, Austin and Elizabeth departed roles a little bit early, but we're so excited for them, but that did leave a little bit of a gap. And then we had our other members that had done their time. So they are rolling off as well. So, just a thank you. Let's give everyone a hand. Okay, now we'll go to our proposed list. This is our executive team. As Mike said, this is proposed, and I'll pause in a minute to see if Mike's plea of having somebody take his spot is going to happen. We'll see. But we have Mike doing his role as president, David Duchin, this is our proposed, stepping in as executive VP, Reve stepping in as technology and communications VP, working very closely with Paul. We have Larry Strauss in the role of development VP, also a very critical role given what you saw with the budget. We have Rachel as our education VP, fantastic. Mark continuing in the financial VP role. Elisa, as you heard, stepping in officially. She was kind of co-chairing with Donna, and she'll step in officially as membership VP. Alex continuing as ritual VP, and then Rivka, who's quietly over there doing hard work already, as secretary. So that is our, now this is a logistical question, do we take a vote on the board and exec, or do we do them one at a time? Whole thing at a time, okay. All right, so then we're gonna go to our at-large board members. So you'll see the second years are the ones that are continuing. A little bit of a difference there with Marion stepping in year 2, but regardless, we've got our year 2s that have been on the doing their second year this coming year. And then our first years being proposed, it'd be Rusty and Kimber and Becky, Bob and Hillary. So that's our proposal for the at-large board members. Any other voting members on the board are appointed. So what the Leadership Development Committee does is the slate for the executive committee and the slate, excuse me, the slate for the at-large members. So that was our charter to complete. So with all of that, I think at this time, we see if we have any nominations from the floor. Let's go ahead and put the put exec up there one more time, just for a moment. We'll put the board up there one more time, and we'll just see if we have any nominations from the floor.
Where's the treasurer? The treasurer, as of this year, is no longer a voting board member. That was part of our restructure that came from the consultant. The treasurer is under the financial vice president.
So there is a treasurer, but it's not
well.
a voting member that, yeah. And so Jeremy Duchin is continuing in that role this year. Yes, so Gary Pahalnik moved that we disappoint Mike. You don't have to put that in the minutes.
Are there any Zoom?
Are there
any Zoom comments? Not so fast.
Yeah.
Anybody out there?
I hear crickets. So there is a motion to accept the slate as proposed. We have a second. Who wants to second? I saw like 4 hands. Okay, Phil Stamen, because I heard that. Phil Stamen's going to second. All right, and now we're going to take a vote and we'll do the same thing on Zoom. People on the Zoom can just put in the comments their vote, and then we'll take a vote here. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? Congratulations. So officially, congratulations. Please do recognize everybody. Okay. Done for a few months.
Well, thanks a lot. No, really. Thank you, Lisa. It was, I want to say also that I've been on this committee in past years when they've really had to scrape through the directory 4 or 5 times trying to find somebody who will take these jobs. And this year, it was a hard choice because there were lots of good people that we want to include who were still obviously included in things to do here, but that made her job and the committee's job a lot easier than it has been. And that's a real tribute to our synagogue. Okay, let's go to the Volunteer of the Year Awards. We're wrapping this up here. Keep going. Stop there. I'm not going to read all these names, but you can look at them yourselves. I just wanted to recap. We've the last 4 years of our volunteers of the year. Lots of them are worthy of perhaps getting it again right away, but we try not to repeat them. But these are some of the people that make our synagogue so great. Yeah, okay, so let's go to our 2024 volunteers of the year in alphabetical order. Fern Gerstein, she besides being an indefatigable greeter every Friday night and doing many other things, these two lovely stained glass windows that you see on either side, if you come in the evening, they're a lot brighter and more prominent and more enjoyable, thanks to Fern and to Eileen, who sort of made that happen. We have a certificate. You can come
We
get
would
it
like
now.
you to come up here.
Come on up.
If you're comfortable doing that.
Even if you're not, come on anyway.
And then
Mhm.
let's just read all of them and then we'll take a picture at the end.
Okay. Eileen Kestner, who does so much for us. Also these windows and all the B'nai Mitzvah, there's a lot more to it than we probably see that goes into B'nai Mitzvah and for all you do for so long. Michael Levy is not here. As Katie said, he spearheaded our sprucing up of the landscaping outside and other things he does for our synagogue, and we're very grateful. Kimber Miller, she's not here. Sorry?
She's at a sisterhood.
All right, she's a sisterhooding this weekend. You're right. She has taken over as our kitchen volunteer coordinator. Am I saying it right? And kept the kitchen rolling, which is a heck of a challenge after the years that Linda made it work so well. But she picked up the gauntlet and did a wonderful job. Rivka Morris, we want you too. She has carried on Rabbi Zelany's tradition of the Shabbat yoga, among many other things you do, and we're so grateful. And Linda Steinberg, are you here? You're here. We had a really great year of adult education, not just, and it isn't quite over yet. There's one more session you've got to endure me, but thank you for picking that up and doing such a great job. And these are our volunteers of the year. Thank you very much. Hold up your, hang on. Hold my finger. Okay, thank you. And one. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ellen, please.
Mike, I'd like to thank you for all the work you do. You are a chief dryer, washer in the kitchen, and appreciate all you do to help us.
I tell my friends I'm the sucker in chief of Beth Torah, and I'm proud of it. Do put that last slide up. Before we finish, I'd like to take a moment just to remember our friends and members who we've lost this year. Marvin Block and Eli Davidson, Ted Hirsch, Luke Kaiser, Marsha Kreitman, Maxine Levy, Roz Prupus, David Ray, Myrna Robbins, Jan Shelby, and Ron Weller, our former president, who's moved away, but he was president of Beth Torah, passed away a little while ago. We remember them and we wish they were here. Sorry? Otherwise, but there we go. That's next. Please stick around. We have hot dogs hopefully grilling right now. Can I get a motion to adjourn? I bet I can. David Duchin, second. Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of our congregation, and go have lunch.
Huh? Oh,
What'd I
if
forget?
you're interested in purchasing anything from the gift shop, Reve is going to open it and she'll be there for the next 30 minutes or so, okay? Thanks, Reve, for volunteering for that.
Yeah.
Yes, all the food is grilling, the hot dogs are grilling in the courtyard by the playground. So if you have your kids in the youth lounge, bring them down, let them play in the playground.
Thank you. That went okay.
That was great. That's your co-op. Those pamphlets, we never met.
There's a whole stack of them out there. Hmm? Pick a name.